record on this. Okay. Recording has started.
Great. So I will share my screen if I can get to the right comment. Let me get to the right thing. So I find myself down rabbit holes a lot, and I try to when I'm looking at something else, I find something else, and I can't help but I have to address it,
Okay.
Yeah, so this is one of those
Wait,
cases.
I just see you now. I saw your screen for like a split second and then it went away.
Do you see it now? No.
No,
Yeah.
I just see you. But I did see it. I saw it briefly, like popped up. Oh, there. It's something's happening.
You're
Yes.
back.
I see the
Okay.
whole screen see.
Okay, as long as my memory doesn't hose them. I'm watching it. I'm watching it. RubyMine, do not get hungry again.
Oh my gosh.
The RubyMine and GDK or Webpack actually between those two. Watch out.
You're not on Vite, huh? No Vite for
I,
you?
yeah, good story about that. Well, a bad story, but Vite has a bug. There's a bug with running Vite and one of the feature specs that I'm around a lot. And it's only
Mm.
during the SSO registration. I don't know what the problem is, although I was like, one of those people was like, I'm going to hold on and not run Vite for so long, right? And I didn't. And then a couple months ago, I started running Vite. And then came upon this spec. I couldn't run it. I'm like, what is going on? It kept coming up with localhost port 80 can't accept connections or something like that. And I'm like, what's going on? And it ended up being Vite. And I went back against Vite. Yes,
Mm.
and then funny thing is someone else was modifying in another group that one of those specs that I mentioned for SSO registration that and they pinged me about it and said, what's going on here? And I didn't remember this fix. And then he's finally like, just show me your GDK YML. And I did, and he figured it out. It was this. And I'm like, oh yes, I remember now. It
That's
was
when you're like, I
actually
gotta write a blog post about it or something, or you'll never remember.
just fix the issue. I don't know. There's probably a fixable issue. And I should have dove into that rabbit hole, but didn't. Yeah, it was actually today that person came up and I remembered why I switched off Byte. And I was like, we went back and forth for a few days before he figured it out for my GDK YML. And then I'm like, oh yes, sorry, I knew that and I forgot. Anyways, okay. So all right, so what am I doing here? So what I was doing here was, and how did I come to this? So GitLab Duo, there is a page where we have disabled something on it. And, okay. So there's a bug. Okay, the bug is hand raise lead button and admin GitLab Duo empty page state not working. Okay.
Wow. What is a hand raised lead button?
It's just the contact. Well, most of the time the button says contact sales, but what it does is it submits a lead, a bunch of
Oh.
information, which to customers dot, which then forwards on to Marketo, Salesforce, this information. So it's basically you can't self-service, but here's our next best bet for you. Contact our sales and they'll reach out basically.
Okay.
So I think it's basically a crutch for not having self-service in the end, in a way. Sometimes. In this case, it is. So you see that doesn't work.
So that's the hand raised lead button.
Yeah, in that case, that is it. And I say for that case
Seems
because it's not always contact sales. It's sometimes some other word, but most of the time it's contact sales.
got it.
So they're saying like, I can't do this on self-managed. And okay, I go down this rabbit hole of like, why doesn't this work? And I come up with this today. It wasn't meant for self-managed instances because hand raised lead is based on namespace ID.
Mm.
And of course, to submit hand raised lead, you have to have customers.credentials on your GitLab instance to actually submit down that path to customers. So it was never meant for this page. Um, and I just went through some explanations. But anyways, that's how I got where I am, because then I was looking at this page. I'm like, let me put back this test coverage that was, probably stubbed out, by the way, when this was disabled also, because it's shared for GitLab.com. Okay, so I'm like, oh, let me do that. So I went and did that. And when I did that, okay, I put this back and I put this feature spec back right here. you know, I let this back here, but then I started looking at this. I'm like, okay, code suggestions usage tab spec. Okay, this is the code suggestions usage tab spec right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm sorry, always a roundabout story with me. And then I'm like, okay, let me go look up a little bit. This is probably, you know, on what I'm thinking like, well, what about this thing? I see this thing. I've noticed this here the other week.
Yeah, that seems duo-y.
Yes. And of course
PDK,
I killed it because
PDK. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, you said you had to kill some stuff earlier.
yeah, I was like, let me just kill everything. So when you go to that page, it is the same page basically in the end, or it's the tab, it's that tab is there. So I'm like, oh, there's some missing test coverage here because I'm like, I tried on every single hand raised lead. I make sure we have feature specs because of that glue between JavaScript and the back end, which is can never be fully covered because we're using Vue components, right? And so like, well, if you miss one little like initialization of it on that page, the only way to test that is through testing the, you know, a browser test.
Mm.
So I try to make sure we have that. And so this is what, hello computer. It's probably still eating.
Hello?
It's
Hello?
disagreeing with me
What is
about
it? What's the status?
my,
I guess
this
it thinks.
should just be magic status, right?
I don't know. Oh, something's down.
That's okay. That's always down. I
Oh.
never, I have to make sure I start my Docker container and everything like that. And every time I reboot or something like that, it logs me out of that. So I don't bother with it unless I'm trying to check out snowplow events. It looks like it's actually talking to it now. So, all right,
Woohoo.
cool. Skeleton loader, pretty. Okay, so that's the other page. I'm like, wait a minute, where's the feature spec for this, right? Like I know we have the other ones on here, so let me, if I only had to undo that one, I should probably have to undo it here if it's used on this page, because I see like, you know, it's probably there too. So that's how I got down this path. So I started
Okay.
looking at this and I'm like, wait a minute, what's this? This isn't the usage quota page. Why is this thing called usage quota?
Ah, okay.
Right. And that's what brought me back to going all the way down the path of where this changed and figuring it out. And saying like, oh, well, this page was supposed to, this tab was supposed to go away. And then like, okay, plans change. Okay, well, then we have a testing gap. Okay, so now that's where we are. Now I'm trying to create a shared example.
Okay,
Uh,
great.
so on this merge request, I feel like it's okay to put on this merge request, even though this merge request is really about one focused thing. I think
Yeah,
adding test coverage is cool.
yeah.
So what I did was so far, I created a shared example, which is basically just one of the pages. Now, why do I dislike shared examples usually?
Let
I
me
just,
count the ways.
yes, yes. In this case, I feel like it's a necessary evil. It's an okay evil because they're exactly the same thing. I'm just testing a different page, hitting that exact same thing. So I feel like it's okay. In other cases where I dislike shared examples are when they're used inside of a spec. So if they're used like, you know, inside of any type of spec, if you use a shared example and then reference that shared example down there, now my eyes are going all over the place. There has to be a huge cost benefit for me to like say that that's worth it over like duplication or maybe using a method or maybe a custom matcher instead. And so, and then, you know, I also like, well, if we do use it, make sure we use it more than once. I don't want to just see it to like organize things, you know, because it's like deters readability, I believe. So I feel like they're okay in moderation, even in the same file, if it saves a lot of things. But at that point, I may suggest something like breaking up the test file instead and like, you know, using methods or some other, like I said, custom matchers or something like that. It'll be like the last thing I usually go for in those cases. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was just finding a recent MR I had actually. So I wasn't adding a shared example, but I was trying to add tests to lots of different endpoints, some of which used shared examples. And one thing that I did, basically one reason why I was like hating shared examples is that in order to add a simple test for an endpoint, because it was using a shared example and because some of them used before blocks and some of them used different types of subject blocks,
Mm.
um, I couldn't write the test in the same way. And in fact, in some of them, I did this, what I thought was like a clever but terrible thing, which is that I added, I don't know if it's called an argument or an attribute called like skip before request, where I basically was like, oh, like don't do the before stuff for this shared example
Oh,
because
shit. That's double evil. Like, it's like you just gave in all the way. You're just like,
uh-huh.
dark side, welcome me.
I know, but I was doing this for like 7 different endpoints, and just all the tests were written slightly differently, which is, I think, in a code base as large as GitLab's, you can't expect that every test file is going to be the same. But then that means that if you're trying to use a shared example in like for different endpoints, like
Yeah,
it won't work for all of them.
flexible. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're gonna change too much of the internals to set up each and every one of them to be
yeah,
used on different cases, right? And then like the value deteriorates. But sometimes like when you look at it, you're like, I'll go down a whole path of pulling one apart. Then I'm like, you know what? That's not any better.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I also just find them at another way I hate them is that they're like hard to grep for because it's like a string. It's like this magic string. I
Yeah.
actually learned talking about this in another call that shared examples can be symbols, the names. So instead of GitLab Duo administration, it could be like colon GitLab underscore Duo underscore administration. I actually submitted a patch to Rubocop to enforce that style
I think
optionally.
I
Like,
saw that merge
yeah,
that you did, or that discussion at least, where
yeah.
okay. And I
So,
think they've used it because I've used it in cases of like not just a symbol, but is a class name or something like that. Because I use it as a concern. So it's like,
mm,
oh, this covers the concern things, so I can just name the shared example the concern name, and it just works out. And I just have just behaves like that, and it kind of just
mm,
magically kind of worked.
that's
Um,
nice.
and
That's
then the
nice.
only reason I saw it because I was looking around. I think I saw that change. I saw that whole discussion you had and everything like that too. Um,
Yeah, people weren't super on board with using the symbol, but it's my memory. But I think that's just another way where I feel like just when I'm in a file, like um I would basically, I mean, it depends on your editor. Maybe in RubyMine it's easier to find GitLab Duo administration like that, but it doesn't feel, it feels like a magic string. It feels like, oh, there's this magic string, and when you say it, it like invokes this test, and I don't like that.
yeah, I wonder if I could do that here. Like that. No, I was trying to say like I used the class name. I'm not even sure, but I'm sure maybe I didn't. Maybe I just used a string in a class name. I'm not sure. Like something like that instead. I think I did this though. I think I did that, but it
Mm.
doesn't feel like that should work. But I
I
think I
don't
did
think
that.
it will. I think it has to be a symbol or a string. I don't think it can be a constant.
Like, let's take bets. Uh,
Okay.
it should tell me pretty quick. I gotta remember now where I did that, so I can like kind of remember what I was doing. It was a concern because I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense because the concern concept being shared amongst multiple things is the same as like that. Uh,
Mm.
and you are right.
But you could do a symbol. You could do a
Yeah.
colon GitLab underscore.
Ugh,
Um,
what happened there?
wait, what?
My keystrokes
Um,
are
last week in this call, or I guess maybe it was 2 weeks ago, Chad Woolley was here, and he always um is telling me how it Ruby. I think he uses RubyMine, how it's
yes.
like better. It's, yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
he's watching me do things in gym. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't believe you put up with this.
He's he is. tasked me to learn the shortcut keys as well. Like I have that key promoter plugin and everything like that, but it's just noise to me because I never remember it. Like it's just yeah. It
Yeah.
just tells me about it. I'm like, "Ah, I can't learn a new thing today. My brain won't help it handle keys.
Yeah. Well, I think of
Uh,
all the things that slow me down, it's probably not shortcuts in my editor.
yeah.
But it is frustrating to watch somebody else when you know the command to be like, come on, just like
Yes.
Command T or whatever.
Right. Right. I wonder if I could. Now I want to find the thing that I did, and I wonder if I can do like a /W.
What's that? What do you think that's going to return?
Uh, it'll let me do regex in here a little
Oh,
bit.
cool.
Maybe if I actually did it right. Um, not W then. I want like A to Z, right? I want like A to Z.
Wow, this is really good, like on the fly regexing. I'm definitely
Yeah,
always
if I
Googling
only
that.
knew how to, if I only know how to use it, because obviously that ain't right. Plus dot start. Shit. It's like simplified. It's kind of like how grep doesn't really do regex, but it kind of does.
Mm,
Type of concept. I'm just looking for like, oh, where am I usually? Can I find that one example I
mm.
had? Start concern. No, I wouldn't name a concern. That's not me.
What would
Um,
past Doug have named it?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's like just like things like where do you put your keys, where do you put your wallet, right? I never try to be intentional. It's the first thing that comes to my mind is where I'll always put it. Because then that means next time I will find it too. Okay, so I didn't rerun that, did I? I think my Chrome driver's still hosed. I don't think this is a real error. See, I got one passing. So I know
Oh.
it works. I was getting these errors before and I have no clue my Chrome, but why wasn't it like on the first one? Like this one is like not really so much different than this one.
Hmm.
Um,
Can you make it
might
a
be,
little bigger, your terminal? I just can't really see that.
how do I do it? Let's see, Control plus.
Yeah, Command plus. Yeah. Yeah, that's better.
Yes, so it's saying it can't find that, but I think that's false. I didn't change anything about these specs, and it was failing when I had it in the other thing. So it's like there's something about my setup I think is suspect. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. Let's see. Look at the where is there we go, screenshots. And this is
Screenshot.
where I was getting blank screens before.
Is
Oh,
that
good.
why?
Good. It's Webpack. That means
Yeah.
it's a synthetic. Well, it's like a, unprocessable entity though. Okay, so fudge.
What's usually the reason that Webpack would return a 422 in a Chrome browser?
Uh, Usually it's because something's weird or I don't know. So I just restart GDK and run it again. And then I'll
Hmm.
get like compiling assets failure and then I'll have to run it again. And then I'll wish I changed to Vite and then I'll change it to Vite and then I'll go run that SSO spec.
Wow.
I won't even know what I'm doing anymore.
Whoa. Wait, so
So
it's funny. I so infrequently run feature specs. I feel like this seems very frustrating
yeah,
based on how you're describing it.
just on that SSO one, like, and I don't know why it's like it hits a performed in queue jobs point and then it breaks. And that only
Mm,
runs during the SSO. I don't think it has anything to do with SSO. I think it has to do with hitting the performing queue jobs. And
mm.
somehow the performing queue jobs hits a Vite error, some sort of an error that leads back to it being Vite. Let's put it that way. Um, okay, so anyways, this covers like I think like an okay use for shared examples. I don't know another way ex except to unfocus this page, these pages and make it not about the page and make it about the concept instead. And then I would be okay to like do some sort of a parameterized syntax to go over it as in a loop.
Oh, I see. Well, but then I feel like then that may be hard to find because it seems like these tests right now are specific to the page, right? Like each file is one page.
Ideally, that's where I feel like the best way to organize feature specs is to put them according to like the controller path if you can, maybe, you know, or at least like something that makes sense. Uh, but if you were to unfocus that and just make it about the concept of the GitLab Duo content, the management itself, then you could put it all in one file. But then, as you said, it deters the findability probably.
Well, another question. Oh, you have the same thing. 422.
Yeah, I'm probably just broken somehow.
Is the duo path somehow wrong? Or because 422 would be invalid parameters.
Unprocessable entity. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually a post request with the wrong params.
Yeah, maybe I should dig into it.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's see if we can just take one of them, right?
yeah.
Actually, maybe I should back up and just go to one where I haven't used a shared example and go to that failure. That way we're not dealing with shared example, whatever.
Mm,
Two things at once, like a change and a failure,
hmm
right?
hmm
Um, so let's just run one of these. This is the exact same thing. I just didn't blank it out yet. Um, Copy. And then now someone would tell me who used RubyMine better just to run tests in the editor, like, but I don't like that. Like, not.
The problem for me when I try to use VS Code is I will open the file in the terminal in VS Code. Like I forget what I'm doing, and all of a sudden I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, why am I in this like really weirdly colored Vim situation? I'm like, oh, good in VS
Yeah.
Code. So I feel yeah.
I still haven't gotten used to like, oh, this little thing's here. That's magical.
What does that do?
There's a
Keeps you the
database tab.
database?
I could actually do like check out the database instead of going to, the database console myself and stuff like that. If I
But
actually,
why are there 15 numbers?
I have no clue what's going. I have never set it up. I think I need to do something like this.
Oh
Figure
wow.
set that
Oh,
up.
data source.
It couldn't be
Hmm.
like, automatic. That'd be too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, although I do like my GitLab Duo in here. It has come in handy in writing like mundane tests and getting
Mm-hmm.
the wording right, around them.
Mm-hmm.
I have had issues where it looks like it's right, and so I just take it, and then like an hour later, I figure out it was just a little bit off, and I was troubleshooting
Uh-huh.
something else.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Right.
Got the error. Select all users. Okay, good.
It's not
Uh,
getting it because there's a 422 overlay, right?
yes.
Like,
Okay, so what are we hitting? Okay, so what page are we hitting? We're hitting the usage quotas page. Well, we're not. Well, we are because I changed it back. Okay, so we are. And I think that changes, okay? Well, let's go to the usage quotas controller, and it will be hitting this version of the controller and and the FOSS version too, right?
mhm.
That one. Okay, so well, we could be hitting this.
It's a 422 though. It's a 422.
You're right, yeah. Okay, so then I don't see anything 422 is being called out here. Let's get to the actual index page.
Also, yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you tail logs ever when you run this to see what the 422 is?
Let's see. Maybe it'll still be in there. Yeah,
Not that one.
yeah, I could use like
Yeah. But then it
the
has to be tests, right? Not development.
yeah, the GDK logs. I could
Mm.
use those, but maybe not in. Okay, just gonna be way back up here somewhere.
22.
Too far? Don't do that to me. Maybe it's this. I mean, it should just say 422, right?
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, nothing there. But
Okay.
it's hard to tell, and I gotta get past all the teardown stuff. But sometimes I just look by my eyes, try to find it. I think this is still in the actual feature. There's the things actually running now, running. And then
Or do you see an error? I mean, not for, doesn't show up as 422 in the logs, but it just shows up as an error.
should be like right here, right? I mean, this is the end. And then it just starts, now it's just the teardown.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't see anything, and it means like maybe the weblog should be in here. I would think. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I tried.
I think I'd do a poor man's binding.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if I can. I'm going to try to go to the furthest edge and hopefully like I get there, and then work way back. So I want to say I think it's probably in JavaScript somehow, and it's something inside this app trying to load data. That's where my inkling is, but we'll see. If we get this far, we'll know it's past this point, which means it's in here somewhere.
Okay.
I think that's my
Okay. Fingers
assumption.
crossed.
Yes. The sad part is that feature specs take so long to actually run.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if I turned off JavaScript, if I get it, I would definitely get a different error, but if I would get past that point, and then I could like know for sure it's JavaScript.
But you didn't change any application code, right? Or you just changed the test, or did you actually change the application code already?
Did I application code? I did.
Yay, you're proud.
Okay, well, let me just, while I'm here. Everything looks fine there. I don't see anything out of, like blatantly obvious. Okay, so I got to that point. That means like, okay, all right, what does that mean? Take that feature spec over here. This is the one we're inside. And let's look at when this actually errors, if I didn't time it out, look at the actual line that is corresponding to, because maybe it got like a few steps down the road. 50. Okay.
Yeah.
It got right here, it got on the page, and then the
Yeah.
page says it's 422. Like, how is that? So I guess we have to look at the JavaScript. Oh, please.
So what are the application code changes you made? Because I think they would be very few, right? Just like if you made a few changes.
Just that.
So do you want to revert that and see
Let's try.
if this goes away?
Okay, that's the only difference.
And also if you do a git diff, is there anything that like kind of crept in maybe?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Like if you just do a quick git diff, just see if any like hidden binary. Okay, that's fine. Sometimes I like, especially if, I don't know, there's like a typo or something like.
I've done that where I'm screwing around and I forgot that I made a change so I could view it on the UI and I had to revert it back.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, usually what I would do here is, in this specific case, is I'd probably just make the changes and just push it up and see what CI told me. Which is the easier way out here, and see if it's like,
is it like a you problem?
yeah, is it a me issue? And we're just back to the same spot. Hopefully that's, now if it passes here, I'll be not
We would
understand.
expect it to fail, right? Because it should be hidden, or is this a self-managed test?
This should fail, but in a, I'm hoping it fails in the same way it failed before.
Okay.
Because we didn't even get to the select all users part, which is not even part of my change.
Okay.
Like, I'm just dealing, my part of my test that caused me to look at this area was just this one, and this passes, right?
Okay.
This is like stuff that already existed.
Oh, interesting. So what, did it fail in the same way?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well, I
where?
guess you have to look at the screenshots to know for sure, but it seems like, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like create
It's a
error.
web. Yeah, what's that
You
about?
know, what I find sometimes about this stuff is when I spent all that time, the message was right in my face the entire time. And if I just took a minute to read what it said, I would have found it. And
Is that what's happening right now?
I'm trying to figure out if that is. Uh, but this one's like, obviously throwing that internal error. So I'm not going to get anything from that one. But the secondary error, this always pops up though. This isn't it.
I will say that my new favorite use of Duo is to just take the full error message and put it in and see what it says about the error.
Okay.
Because humans don't like reading full error messages, right?
You mean like this, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's do that.
It really worked for me on a recent issue.
Uh,
Mhm. Like it kind of just like rewords it, right? It doesn't do anything fancy.
yeah,
Um, yeah, we knew that Duo.
yeah.
Um,
Okay, blah blah blah. It's like I want to give it the image.
mhm.
Missing translation, accessibility suggestions. Okay, whatever. Failed resource loads. Okay, oh yeah.
I mean, doesn't seem that eliminating. It's basically like, don't get a 422. It's like, yeah, come
Yeah,
on.
I agree. Okay, so how do we
Okay.
go deeper here? Um,
Um,
okay, go back and look at the place where it was on line 50, which was this one. But it's before it gets here, right? It's like Webpack says something's broken. So I think what I need to do is actually try to simulate this on my GDK and go to the page.
mm,
But how do I do that? Okay, well, let's look at the setup here. Uh, I think I need to do this. I need to do this right there.
mm.
Okay, so, all right. So I don't have to lose my page. I'm gonna find the ID. Um,
And you need that data why? Just because you just want to get the same setup.
because the page toggles between showing this page versus if
Mhm.
you already have purchased seats, it'll show the selector, which is what this test is about. So this
Okay.
test is about using toggles to like give this person a seat on Duo that you purchased type
Mm,
of thing. And if you don't have any purchased quantity of 10 or something like that, it probably won't, or a purchase, it won't show that for you.
mm,
It'll show this page instead, which is not the page that's failing. So then what I want to do is create a add-on purchase basically.
mhm.
Uh, I wonder if I can just use factory bot.
Probably.
I'd
I
have to
think you
like
probably.
require it, right?
Yeah, you think you should require it. Um, I think in a string as a string,
And
factory underscore bot or
eh,
factory underscore or dash. I don't remember.
uh,
Call. And then
false,
just, I think that should be fine. Maybe it was already, we might already require it in development.
maybe. Uh, And then maybe I could just do, I gotta find my ID. That's what I needed. 134. Okay, good. And then just do factory create, and then copy and paste this.
Yeah, seriously, it's a lot of text. Name has already been taken
Where I have it
for.
at? Or
You
oh,
already
here.
have a what?
Oh, you know what it is? I create this one here because it's not created during test. So this goes and creates the actual add-on. I don't need to create the add-on. I just need to create the
Oh,
add-on purchase.
okay.
So a little bit different. So I do add-on purchases.rb. That's it. And I want this one, but I want to give it the add-on. So I want to do add-on equals. Oh, fudge.
GitLab subscription.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, one of those like, yeah, it's like buried type of thing. So it's not like the name.
Yeah. GitLab subscription add-on purchase.
I only want the
Add-on.
add-on, not the add-on purchase itself. So I'm going
Oh.
to find the actual enum right here.
You can do first, I guess. It looks like subscriptions might be the name. Oh, you already have that. You already have that. Okay.
Yeah, I think I
Okay.
want to do a
You want
find.
number 4.
I think you're. Is it?
It was GitLab Duo Pro, so you want number 4.
GitLab Duo Pro is actually code suggestions. Duo Enterprise is a different one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we remember we renamed code suggestions to Duo.
Oh, I remember they tried to rename it and there was like some kind of incident at one point.
Now I can do. Now it's going to be like, why didn't I just call like Rails create? And,
Yeah, well, I get it.
okay, good. Now,
Yay, Doug. That was some really fast debugging.
let's see.
Wow.
Yeah, good.
Hey,
Good, good, good.
look at that. This is some pro
Here we
level
go.
stuff.
But you know what
Here
this
we
is going to
go.
come back to? I know track event. Is this going to come back to like what you said at the beginning where my snowplow micro isn't running and I told it to run so
Oh my gosh.
No.
So, no,
Okay, I know what problem this is.
really? Look at
Because there was an
you.
issue opened up recently, and I think it's being fixed right now, where if you do not have on our internal snowplow events thing we created, if you don't have the corresponding file, YML file, underneath config events, it will throw that error.
Okay.
Right? You have to have the file to match the event. So what I should look for, because I know that's being fixed, my team had an issue for it. Someone's fixing it. I'm just going to short circuit it. I think it's the person called it page view errantly, and so I can just look for it, hopefully.
Okay.
I think it might be this right here. And let's just take this out. And
Wow. How did you know that issue was created? I feel like you have like encyclopedic knowledge of.
I don't know why my brain works this way, but I can remember a lot of things about work, but never about like anything else in my life.
Like you saw that issue like in Slack or something and you just remembered.
Well, it's yeah, it was like at least 2 days ago, 3 days ago, maybe, and like
Wow, that's great.
it corresponded to my brain. It's probably this one too.
See, like that's the kind of thing where like when Duo has more context, you would
Yeah.
ask Duo and it would, well, I don't know, it didn't, that exact error, like it basically, I don't know how he could have gotten the console errors printed out in the output, but Duo could like look at it and be like, oh, I found an issue for this. This is a known problem. And then people that don't have your brain could solve this as quickly as you did.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
hope for the future.
yeah. Don't. Then I'll be worried about like my ability to make money.
No, you make money for lots of reasons that are not your memory. Your memory
There you
just
go.
allows you to move faster.
There you go. Make the intuitive leaps. Um, so okay, so I feel like
That was it.
that was it. I don't like how that works.
What do you mean?
I
The
don't like,
toggle?
yeah, I don't like how it hiccups.
Oh,
Like
I don't understand like what it does. So
it's
when you turn it
making
off, you turn it
what it,
off.
yeah, what it's doing is it is there's an add-on. So when you go into add-on purchases, there's a assigned users right there. And what it's doing is it's assigning the user, it's creating that record. And it's also sending out so it's been queuing a worker in the background to go send a lead, that sends an email to the person and notification as well. But I feel like I understand why that, you put a spinner, but it's like, it's not how I feel like a toggle works. Like
Mm,
I don't expect to have a loading concept inside of a toggle. That's,
hmm.
you know, anyways, okay, cool. See, rabbit holes.
Well,
Um,
this is the challenge of a full stack engineer, right? Like whenever I see a weird front end thing, I'm just like,
yeah,
that's someone
let it
else's
ride.
deal.
And see, I would have been totally like, how is this working in CI though? Oh, because probably it doesn't use Webpack, and probably because like if it's using something else
Right?
during, yeah, if it's using that in CI, VI probably doesn't throw the Webpack error, and so the page is technically functional, but Webpack makes it a breaking thing, right? And like
Hmm.
Vite,
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I don't know either. I don't know that much about.
Because would we have ever had this bug if it was like if it broke the CI, for someone using page view without the file to
Mm,
correspond to it?
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
And
yeah,
I
I guess I don't know how they detected the bug in the first place, but
yeah.
like, do you think it was because they were using Webpack?
So in CI, if they're using browser tests and they're using Vite, I'm guessing that Vite doesn't hit this bug, else CI should have blown up
Yeah.
when these things were made on the
Mm,
page, just like it did
hmm.
for us in Webpack.
Mm.
Right. And so that would have caught this bug. Anyways, that's another rabbit hole. I don't think I should go down it because I've gone down enough. But in a couple months, I'll think that again probably. And yeah, and then this should just work. So back to our original thing. We figured out the problem. I left these commented out. I won't submit them up. I know there's an issue for it. I saw it the other yesterday or the other day, whatever. I know it's being handled. Um, okay. The thing is, with that page view, if I hadn't seen that, like I wouldn't made the correlation because that's such a generic name. Like, what is
So
page view?
generic. Yeah. Yeah. That's something I was like amazed. You're like, oh yeah, it's that random issue that came up. Like
Yeah,
just boom, boom, boom.
yeah.
But if you question, because obviously the approach of trying to locally produce it made a lot of sense and it worked out. But could we have seen that console error from the binding.pry somehow? Can you look at JS console errors, for example?
I don't think so because I'm in Ruby. You know what I mean? I don't.
But you can open the page HTML, but yeah, I guess JavaScript. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. That HTML screenshot, no, that one failed.
Okay.
What? I think this is probably just going to be a compiling assets thing. No. What? Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is me having encyclopedic knowledge. Maybe. Didn't we have issues with this overlay before this GitLab Duo chat like pop up?
Yeah.
I believe when they introduced it, it broke. a lot of our integration tests because it makes it so you can't click on anything else until it's dismissed.
Yeah, is that what's happening here?
Maybe because it can't
Yeah.
find it because it's like an overlay. So you have to dismiss
Uh,
the Duo
Do
chat,
you think
whatever
it
that
could
thing's
be
called.
transient though? Because it's not happening on master. Maybe if I just randomly got the bug, got that, and maybe if I like just, but is that, I don't know. Is that a bad thing to do? To just say like, I'm going to ignore this and see if it works the second time?
Well, no, it's fine. I mean, that doesn't bother me. I don't, my memory was that it wasn't that it was transient. It was like anytime you didn't have like a cookie or something
I think
that
this is
indicated
real
you'd already
error
seen it.
though. I think this is real error. I don't, I, because start trial and purchase seats, neither one of
Mhm.
those say, hand raised to me.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So there's supposed to be a third button.
Yeah, like this is probably, I have no clue. I'm gonna run it
Purchase
again.
seats could be a hand raisey thing, right? It could be actually like a form to contact sales.
Why is it trying to find it there anyways? Let's see. You know what? My brain is thinking of many possible. No, this is right. This is the GitLab Duo one. My reintroduction of it to the actual quote usage quota page is something different. So this page shouldn't have changed between master and in my introduction of it. Okay, but we're looking at what line? This one, right? 25. This is my hand raising. What happened? That's wild. Okay. I'm not sure what to do here besides trying to rerun it and hopefully and see if I get a different result first.
Mm.
Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense unless I change some stuff. Did I change some stuff just to get somewhere? Maybe.
Oh, you showed your diff before, and I didn't see
Yeah,
it. Um,
it's just that. It's just that. That's
have you
just,
committed anything else on this branch?
man, I pushed everything up somehow.
Oh, didn't we added it hidden again. Hold on.
Oh, right, right,
When
right.
we were messing around, I
That's
told you
right.
to do that. My bad.
It was what we thought it was.
It was what we thought it
It
was.
was like, the thing of like, oh, sometimes I forget that change things and then,
Or like sometimes you're running a test and you actually want it to fail, but then you forget that and you're like, it keeps failing. You're like, oh wait, I wanted this to fail because I'm doing TV.
yeah, right.
Uh, so-
Now, this raises another question. I was looking at that. So I expected to be there, but that looks weird. It looked like there would be 3 buttons there. Is that like what we want?
So either
Anyways,
there's 3 buttons, maybe it replaces another button somehow using fancy JavaScript stuff.
yeah, this is like else, right? If, and then this is else. So this is 1 button total right here. This
Hmm.
is another button. This is fine. I mean, this was only hidden as of today in the code base, so it's not like this change. I just find it weird to have 3 buttons like that. That seems like a
Well,
lot of,
can you look at your GDK and see what you see? Yay, passed.
yeah.
What do you
I have
see?
to find a different ultimate group. Let's see. Uh, we need ultimate groups. Hopefully one stands out here. I do a lot of my new ultimate that sounds like a winner.
Okay.
And I was on the usage quotas page. I made that have seats too.
Oh, pass Doug.
Pass Doug sucks. Okay, so this is easy though. New group.
My new
My
ultimate.
new. This is where Vite yells at me. I'm like, oh, there's an easy button. No, it just tells you how to do it from there. If it was only that easy of clicking the button.
Oh my gosh. I think at this point you just start dating them.
And
August 28th,
you know, you
2024
know what
ultimate.
happened. What's going to happen is I'm just going to sanitize my GDK database, and I'll be back to normal. Because like it gets in the thing where like I test registration, and I'm like I run out of my child names with 100,
Mm,
101 on the end, and like
mm,
and okay, good. And then if I do this is a two-step process. If I do it this way,
yeah, you gotta make it ultimate.
yeah. Uh, it's always right in front of my face. I can never see it.
It's really hard to find it because it doesn't look like a drop down. It looks like a text
Yeah,
box.
that gets me every time.
Same.
All right. I didn't need to reload.
3 buttons.
Uh, yay.
Oh, now it says contact sales. So it was an if else. Or before
Yeah, that's interesting.
it
Let's go
was
back to this.
something purchase seat. It was something
There
purchase
must
seats.
be
Now it's
a
purchase
must
seats.
be like a yeah, right? It's like, but that doesn't make any
Well, look at your other group now. Because yeah, like put them side by side.
I was looking at something else. No, that was on a failure, right? It had to be it was a failure. It has
Mm. Oh yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
Yeah. Um, that's
Okay.
interesting. So it showed like there was already like a purchase seats, and then there was something else here that was non-contact sales wordy. And I'm like, how would that show up on my thing if I wanted to do like something like that? So let me,
Oh, trial. Maybe it was the trial button.
yes, that's not it.
Buy
That's post trial.
subscription.
And this the trial one right here is that. Where was the purchase seats? It's even above this. Okay.
Mm.
Another button up here. I'm never gonna be able to. Actions. Should be right here, right? Track trial click. This is actually this, I don't even have to go to this one. I kind of know that it's going to the trial ref, right? But then purchase
Mm-hmm.
seats is like something totally different. That goes to customers dot.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it'd have to be like it has a confirm on it. So confirm is blue and primary. So it's purchase seats, but why wouldn't the okay. I see. I think these buttons will flip colors.
Mm.
Variants. No, they won't. Confirm, confirm. So one of these show up, but I saw that other one, right? On the failure. What am I looking?
V else if.
Yeah. Else if, and then just the else. So it's like only one of these should show.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I collapsed them because I'm like, they don't care, don't care. This is I can see this is just one, right? And then
Yeah.
I see this is one. So this is that other one, but this one only shows this is only if that one. Okay. Got it. So this one was showing on my other thing, but not showing here, right? I don't see a
Mm-hmm.
trial here. This
Mm-mm.
one was
Mm-mm.
showing the Duo Pro trial href. And for that to show, I think I have to enable if no.
There shouldn't be a feature flag. Although maybe because it's in.
It's too old. There should be a feature flag for that. I'm gonna have to put underscores on it. Actually see. You see this is how it toggles the color
Mm-hmm.
there, because that's what I was seeing for.
Is it capital?
from the back end.
Caps.
Yeah,
Neutral.
namespace eligible. Okay,
Maybe it's only eligible if they haven't purchased it already.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. So that's,
Okay.
but anyways, okay, 3 buttons. I guess that makes sense. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
So
Cool.
we made
Doug,
it. We did
I
it.
learned a lot today about Vite, Webpack.
Uh,
Not as
I'm,
much about shared examples.
yeah, I know. It's like, by one time when I feel like I'm okay to use it, or I feel like I can get past my own initial no to use it. Let's put it
Mm,
that way.
mhm, mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
but it still seems expensive for what we're trying to do. Like, so I use a lot of feature specs to like I said, the glue between like, okay, the backend has this selector and the front end says consume the selector and make JavaScript. Well, if you miss that in between spot for the page specific JavaScript where you load that selector in, then you don't have coverage. And like we haven't had a solution to cover that yet.
Mm,
But I think we should find one that's cheaper than feature specs somehow.
yeah, they are expensive.
But I also like them too because when I go and like say I go and change the hand raise lead mode one this case I've done it in the past and recently I made sure I had all the tests in place and then I could just go change everything without caring to check every single area because I
Mm,
know every single submission every single thing works
yeah,
start to finish. So I'm of 2 minds of it.
yeah. Hmm. Okay. Well, thank you for bringing something interesting to talk about. I didn't have
Cool.
anything, so appreciate that very much.
Well,
And always a pleasure hanging
all
out.
right. All
And
right.
I'll see you later.
Cool. Have a good day.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Bye.